Okay, so this is basically a recap on domain, and I hope to do a better job at explaining this, of finding domain, which is basically left wall, right wall, without Desmos. Okay, without Desmos, without a graphing calculator. Okay, so I want to start with number 14. Okay, I want to start with number 14. Um, Now, if you basically follow the steps of this green box, that should be all you need. Okay. Now, the two things that we're interested in are a square root. Okay. We're interested in a square root. If we see a square root or a denominator, okay, a denominator where we don't want it to equal to 0. Okay, where we don't want it to equal to 0. Okay. So let's go ahead. I actually want to do 15. Okay, I want to do 15. So the question with 15 is, do you see, let's start with do you see a square root? Okay, yes. Okay, I didn't talk about the second bullet point or the third bullet point yet. I'm going to do it as we go right here. Basically, you're going to do a number line and then convert it to interval notation. Okay, I just said look for a square root of denominator first. Okay, so let's start with a square root. Okay, now remember, you cannot take a square root of a negative number. Okay, it has to be greater than or equal to 0. Okay, so 4 minus x is greater than or equal to, okay, 0. All right, because it cannot be a negative number. So I'm going to go 4. I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides. Okay, I'm going to divide both sides by -1 and check this out. If you divide by a negative number, you have to flip the symbol. Okay. Now the bottom portion. Okay, so that's your blue highlight. Okay. That's your blue highlight. Now let's look at the bottom portion. X, let's start with the first one. X plus 1 cannot equal to 0. Okay, subtract 1 from both sides. X cannot equal to -1. Okay. All right, and that's your first yellow highlight here. Okay. Now, x squared plus 1 cannot equal to 0. Okay. Now, you subtract 1 from both sides. X squared cannot equal to -1. Now, check this out. This is a little bit redundant. If you square anything, it can never be a negative number. Okay, a negative times a negative is positive. A positive times a positive, I shouldn't say a positive. A negative times itself is positive. A positive times itself is positive. Okay, so anything times itself is always going to give you a positive. This will never be the case. So this is a little bit redundant. You don't need to worry about that. Okay, so we finished with the first bullet point. Now, here's the key. I want you to graph the results on a number line. Okay, graph it on a number line and shade arrows and circles. This is IM1 level stuff. This second bullet point is IM1 level stuff. And you may think, oh, Mr. Chen, you're making me do extra stuff I don't need to do. Trust me, this is going to save your butt on a test. This second step right here, okay, graph the result in number line, is really going to help you out. Okay? All right, so I'm going to put a number line. Okay, this is the key step, and it's really easy. Okay? Less than or equal to -4. I'm going to put -4 right here. I'm going to put a circle that I'm going to fill in. Okay? I'm going to fill in red. Okay? Because of this or equal to. If there was no underline here, which means not or equal to, if it was just less than, this circle would be hollow. Okay? So if it just said less than, okay, not less than or equal to, this circle will be hollow. Okay? And then because this is less than 4, -4. Sorry, that negative got covered up. Okay, we are going to shade to the left. You can just look at this arrowhead. This arrowhead right here is pointing left, so that means this is going to be shaded left, like that. If it was greater than, then you shade right. Okay, but we're going to shade left here. Okay, x also cannot equal to -1. Okay, x also cannot equal to -1. So there's a hollow circle here. Okay, this does not matter. Okay, this does not matter. Now, because of the reasoning I said earlier. Now, you actually do not need to draw this hollow circle. Okay, because if you don't shade it, if we don't shade anything in here, it's implied that it's not equal to or it's excluding. Okay, so if you want, you can draw a hollow circle here. It doesn't matter. But this already, if it's not shaded like how it is right here in this portion, that means it's not equal to. Okay, so as of right now, this is what we got. Okay, -infinity, x, and -4. Okay, and then you just convert that to interval notation. You get -infinity, comma, -4, bracket. And that's it. Okay, and that's all. So again, let's recap. Okay, look for square roots. Okay, look for square roots and look for denominators where and square roots have to be greater than or equal to 0. Denominators cannot equal to 0. Okay, and then graph it on a number line and translate it into interval notation. So honestly, I taught you this before. I even taught you this. I taught you this first part before. I taught you this third part before. The only part that I didn't teach you is this second part. So if you're going to complain and say, oh, it's super annoying, this is a lot of work, dude, the only new thing that I'm teaching you and asking you to do is this number line. That's it. That's easy peasy. And trust me, it will save your butt. Okay, I'm going to move through the rest a little quicker. Let's go look at 14 real quick. Let's do the same thing with 14. Okay, 14, I got 4 minus x squared greater than or equal to 0. Okay, subtract 4 from both sides. Okay, and let me highlight this in blue here. Okay, subtract 4 from both sides, and I get that. Divide both sides by -1, which means I have to flip the symbol. Okay, all right, now here's where I just want you to use common sense. Okay, I just want you to use common sense. 1 squared is 1. Okay, let's go 2 squared. 2 squared is going to make this statement not true. Okay, 3 squared is going to make this statement not true. Okay, -2 squared is going to make this statement not true. -3 squared is going to make this statement not true. Okay, so basically anything beyond, if I draw, okay, this is going to be a little side hustle number line. You don't have to do this particular one. This is a mini number line just for this one. Okay, basically if I have 0 here, everything in between here is okay. Anything in between is going to be okay. Is going to make the statement true. Anything outside this dumbbell looking thing is going to make it not okay. All right, -2 is going to make the statement not true. +2 is going to make the statement not true. Let's try 0.5. 0.5 squared is 0.25. Same thing with -0.5. It's going to be positive. Negative, let me say that clear. -0.5 squared is going to be negative. -0.5 squared is going to be positive 0.25. Okay, so long story short, I'm trying to say anything with the dumbbell is going to make this true. Okay, so your answer is going to be x is in between -1 and 1. This is just more of a common sense type of thing, okay? All right? Yes. Dude, dude, I dude, I have no clue, man. You're absolutely right. What am I doing? Okay? It should totally be a 4, which should make, I'm being a dummy right now, okay? Which should make this, thank you for that correction, which should make that a -2 and a +2. Thank you so much, okay, for that. So same logic, I just made a little bit of a hiccup right there. Okay? All right. Okay, so that is the blue highlight there. Okay? All right, let's look at the yellow highlight. X minus 3 cannot equal to 0. So x cannot equal to 3. Okay? And we're going to draw a number line here. And I'm going to turn this over. Okay? We're going to draw a number line. This is our real number line. I did the side hustle number line right here. All right? So again, I'm going to go 0, 2, 2, and copy this guy down right here. All right, it's going to be a filled circle. All right, with the dumbbell. Okay, I'm basically graphing this blue highlight answer here. All right, and x cannot equal to 3. Okay, again, that's a little bit redundant. Okay, because yeah, you can put a hollow circle here if you want, but it's already implied that anything outside of these shades is not equal to. Okay, so that'll be a little redundant. So again, so we basically got this, and our final answer is going to be that. Okay, that's going to be our final answer. Whoops. Okay, one more. I know this could be overkill. One more, and then I'll let you guys off. Okay. Okay, 16. Let's look at 16 real quick. Okay. Okay, 16. Let's do the same thing again. Let's see if I can move through this even faster. Okay, x to the power 4 minus 16x squared has to be greater than or equal to 0. Okay, and there is no denominator here, so you don't have to worry about that. Okay, so you don't have to worry about that. There is no denominator, so there's no yellow highlights. Okay, so we disregard that. Now, let's go ahead and factor. Let's do the GCF, x squared, and then I got x squared minus 16. Okay, that was the GCF thing I was showing you the other day, like a week and a half ago. I'm going to further factor this guy. Okay, I'm going to further factor this into x plus 4, x minus 4. Okay. Okay. All right. You actually don't have to factor that. You can use common sense like we did here. So I'm actually going to take this back over here. Okay. So remember, you can think of this as two numbers that multiply. Let's see, how do I want to phrase this? Okay. Let's see, what's a good way of phrasing this one over here? Nah. Let me think of a better way to explain this. I have a couple ways in my head, but I don't want to go off into it. I don't want to go off into a tangent. So I'm gonna leave the I'm gonna work on my explanation for 16. But you should be good to go with being able to do the other ones from yesterday. Okay, so let's hear. I'm gonna end this right now.